Hey everybody, Dennis from Boas coming at you here, ladies and gentlemen. And today, as promised, I'm a little late today. Actually, I got a lot going on. But as promised, I wanted to get a video out. It's funny, I've had the same question asked on 3 different platforms. So I promised somebody in this platform that I would cover it. And that's a breeding question. People were asking about their males and when they should go in or if they're too late to go in. So first I'd like to introduce this Longicuda boa. Excuse the sunlight going in and out here. It's probably going to make the boa look rough. But as always, as you know, this channel is raw and organic. So I'm not even worried about that. I just want to really cover the topic because I'm all about teaching and people learning. But this Longicuda is a beautiful boa. This happens to be a young female. And today's topic is mainly about males. And so again, the question was, the person had a male in, and in 2 cases, they both added another male, and then all of a sudden, action begun. Are they too late? Well, let me cover that in a broad spectrum, and then try to narrow in on the question. On a broad spectrum, to me, depending how you season your rooms, it's never too late. You know, your rooms do have seasons, whether you realize it or not. Some people are like, oh, well, I don't flux temperatures on my boas, so there's no season. There's a season. Your humidity in your house goes up and down. Maybe you have forced hot air. That sure as heck drives humidity. And, your temperatures of your house from the basement all the way to the top floor definitely fluctuate on their own from winter to summer. So whether you realize it or not, you're having seasons. Generally, rule of thumb, BCI and stuff like that, September, October. Generally, rule of thumb. Not always, not has to be, generally. Many ways to success. Generally, I find BCC, November, December. Doesn't have to be. Again, could be other months. Just those are my exact months. I mean, I'll be up front. Those are the months that I use. But my boas stay together all the way to May in some cases. In the case of BCC, it's mid-May sometimes before they ovulate. So you're looking at a very big window, and it takes a lot of patience. So as far as the question, to answer it a little bit more narrow, I had a male in there that wasn't doing nothing, and all of a sudden I introduced another male. It's now January. Is it too late? I feel no, because if that male is very active, he'll get that other male active. And why is he active? You got to ask yourself. For those of us that have been breeding a while, such as myself, a lot of you will laugh at this. You'll be like, oh boy, ain't that true. A male, when the female's no longer done, when she's done, and she's ovulated and her pheromones are gone, the male will literally try to run out of the cage. In my finding, again, maybe not every time, most times in my finding, the male wants out. He makes it obvious he wants out. So I say, if you add a male in, even now, on a BCI, and all of a sudden they're both locking up on her, you're probably good to go. To answer that question short and sweet. Now, there's other ways. If you find maybe by your second season, maybe that one male's just lazy and don't begin to work until it has another male in there. Well, there's ways around that. I find one is you can save a recent shed and moisten it and put it in with the lazy male, and sometimes that'll get them going. Well, I do have seasons. I personally, I like to add right away. As soon as my fall starts to come, they go right away. Like I said, I'll be earlier in November usually on my BCC because I believe that as soon as I do drop temps also. So as soon as I begin the temp dropping, I want the male in there. Now, is he going to do anything that first week or 2? Probably not. Will he do anything the first month? In my case, probably not. But I do believe the scent of the male being in there helps the female produce more follicles. It's just an opinion. I could be way off on that, just an opinion. I've heard others state that opinion too, but it's definitely an opinion I agree with. I mean, I've had some wonderful litters, and I think that has a lot to do with it. I haven't tried the other way to see if it changes the numbers at all, so it could be totally wrong, but it's what I do, and I'm not going to change what I do because it works. So I do put the male in right away. I also believe it helps the female go through her whole phases she has to go through to become ready to breed. I think just cooling them separate, waiting to a cold point and throwing a male in there, for me, I don't know, it just don't make as much sense. Now, there are a lot of people that do that and totally successful. Absolutely. Are they wrong? Absolutely not. Am I wrong? Absolutely not. So, again, there is no exact way. You know, there's no like green light that comes on. I'd suggest in a BCI, what I would do is I would probably get them together mid-September and leave them in there. You'll know, you'll see a post-ovulation shed, you'll see her begin to thicken, and you'll see a post-ovulation shed, and then you'll literally see, in most cases I find, that male trying to run out of there. At that point, I would get my temps back up, and I would say that you're good to go. You know, some people raise the temps early. Me personally, this is going to really confuse you. On the BCI, I wouldn't drop as much, so the temps will be raised probably even before the ovulation. On the BCC, I don't raise them until after I see an ovulation. And I don't have unsuccessful litters, that's for sure. In fact, in the BCC area, I've never missed a pairing. So I would say that's a pretty successful way of doing it, or at least in a way that's pretty successful for me. But again, you know, any confusion with any of this, rewatch the video. Always feel free to ask me a question. I'm always here for everybody. I don't, you know, I try to answer each and every comment on here or any other social media I get. Most of you know that already. But, you know, breeding's a passion. The Boas are a passion, so I'm always willing to talk about them. You know, as far as that goes, that's most of my secrets. Of course, misting. Some people use just misting to cool. You know, some people don't really do cooling. They use the seasons in their house. They mist their Boas every evening, and that's how they cool their Boas. That's another way of doing it. You know, again, not my way. I don't find the misting as important in my case. I will mist when I see rain outside. I kind of follow the weather outside is how I do that. Or in most cases during breeding season, it may be a low pressure, a snowstorm outside, and I'll mist the Boas at that point because, you know, I believe, and I think most of us will agree on this, they feel those barometric pressures outside. I mean, if when you observe your Boas, you'll notice they breed a lot more when the storm's coming in. I'd say that's pretty much a fact rather than my belief. But I'm pretty much think that covers, you know, issues with a lazy male or a male that isn't getting the job done. If you introduce another male or take that one out, or if you leave them both in. In my case, I have one that are brothers, so it's okay to do that. I have two feudal brothers born the same exact year. And sometimes I'll double up on them just to get the one going I want going and pull the other one out. And then the other one will keep going. It's kind of funny. I had to do that when they were young. Now it kind of knows what to do. But sometimes you'll always have that Boa that just won't do nothing unless you have another shed in there or something with it to kickstart it. But once again, as long as they get going, I can't stress this enough, let it happen. Let it be. It's not too late. She's still giving off those pheromones for that Boa to be wrapping with her. Something good's probably going to happen. And with that, lastly, I should do that in the beginning, right? But lastly, because once again, I'll never get the growth up to here. I realize that. I do ask you to subscribe if you like the channel. I do ask you to comment. I answer all comments, all of them. I'll answer them. You know, as long as they're not making fun of someone else, then I would just get rid of the comment. But as long as, you know, no question's a dumb question. I started just like the rest of you. You know, I put on socks every morning. I'm a human being just like the rest of you. Experience doesn't get me nowhere. That's how I look at it. Being obnoxious to someone else that knows less doesn't get you nowhere. Quite inconsiderate, in my opinion, actually. But anyhow, I know this little lady would like to go back into her cage as much as she likes being out, very well behaved. Once again, this is a Longicuda. And she will see action a couple of years from now. She's far from it, of course. But that's about it. Hey, until next video, a couple days, Ace Boas over and out. Bring them questions. Thank you all. Thank you for your support.